Good day, everyone. Welcome to our short course review in Clinical Hematology 1. This is designed to help you prepare for the final examination. Over the next few slides, we will revisit the key concepts, laboratory principles, and diagnostic correlations you have learned throughout the semester. This review aims to strengthen your understanding, clarify difficult topics, and build your confidence for the final exam. So get your notes ready and let's begin. So let's start with this topic, hematopoiesis. Hematopoiesis, no? Kung hihimayin natin yung term, hema means blood, no? Poiesis means production. And if in Rodax, this is defined as the cellular formation, proliferation, differentiation meaning they follow a proper sequence of stages and the maturation of blood cells. Okay? So, sabi ko nga, may stages of hematopoiesis, no? So, the first stage is mesoblastic stage. Nag-start yan at the 19th day age of gestation. Ano ibig sabihin yon? Yung age ng fetus sa loob ng uterus. Okay? And saan nag-uumpisa? Anong organ? Sa yolk sac. Okay? Next stage is hepatic stage. From the name itself, nangyayari to or nagsastart to sa fetal liver at the 3rd month of age of gestation. Lastly, pupunta na yan sa bone marrow known as myeloid stage at 5th to 6th month age of gestation. Okay? Pagdating naman sa kanilang differentiating functions, no? Sa mesoblastic stage, dito nag-uumpisa yung mga embryogenic hemoglobin. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga hemoglobin na present lang during the embryo stage of the individual. So, ano yung mga hemoglobin na present during this stage? Gower 1 hemoglobin, Portland hemoglobin, and Gower 2 hemoglobin. So, ganito yung sequence, no? Mauuna muna sa Gower 1, then eventually it will change to Portland hemoglobin, and lastly, your Gower 2 hemoglobin. Pagdating naman sa hepatic stage, no? Aside sa hemoglobin production, nagkakaroon na rin ng WBC in the form of granulocytes. Sa hemoglobin naman, meron tayong nag-uumpisa na yung development ng fetal hemoglobin or hemoglobin F and our adult hemoglobin. So, meron tayong major and minor hemoglobin. Major hemoglobin is hemoglobin A1. Minor hemoglobin is hemoglobin A2. Okay? And then, it will kumbaga, dadalhin pa rin itong mga hemoglobin nito up to the myeloid stage and until upon birth. No, meron pa rin tayong mga ganitong types of hemoglobin. Now, dito sa myeloid stage, very prominent to dahil the primary site of the blood cell production would be the bone marrow. No? And bone marrow is the site of the blood cell production until adulthood. And then sa adulthood, certain bones na lang ang pwedeng mag-produce ng blood such as your sternum and other flat bones. So next naman na term natin is erythropoiesis. Sabi nga natin, poiesis means production and erythro means red blood cell, no? Basically, erythropoiesis is defined as RBC production. And the hormone responsible for the RBC production is erythropoietin, no? Pag may IN sa dulo, ibig sabihin protein yan, no? And erythropoietin is produced by your kidneys. Isa siya sa mga exceptions. Lahat daw kasi ng proteins and hormones are being produced by your liver, no? Except Ito, erythropoietin. Okay? And ano ang nagpapatrigger naman ng erythropoietin production by your kidneys? If itong stimulus na to ay mangyayari, hypoxia. Ano ibig sabihin ng hypoxia? Decrease blood oxygen level. Pag bumababa ang oxygen level ng katawan, ibig sabihin mas mababa din yung blood oxygen sa mga tissues natin. And sino nagde-deliver ng ng oxygen sa tissues? Yung mga RBCs. Okay? If mapapataas ng kidneys mo yung erythropoietin, mas madami ngayon magde-deliver ng oxygen from your RBCs, by your RBCs. Okay? And again, these are the most commonly asked questions during boards, no? Average lifespan of an RBC is 120 days or 3 months, no? And average size is 6 to 8 micrometer, which is the same size as your capillaries. No? Diameter ng capillaries nyo, same size ng RBC. Kaya hindi nagkakaroon, kumbaga, ng obstruction along your capillaries, which is the smallest type of blood vessel, kasi magkasing size lang sila ng diameter. So we have this table, no, presenting to you the proper sequence of erythropoiesis. So, check muna natin, no, yung mga kumbaga main suffix ng mga pangalan ng RBC stages. So, dito, itong system na to is yung mga normoblast system, no? Yan. And then other column, erythroblast. Yung isa naman ay yung mga rubri, no? Rubriblast, rubricite. Etong dalawang ito, parehas sila ng way of naming the stages, no? The youngest, it has a prefix of pro, no? Pronormoblast, proerythroblast. Okay? The next stage is basophilic, normoblast or erythroblast. Next naman, polychromatic or polychromatophilic normoblast or erythroblast. Orthochromic normoblast. Next naman, magkaiba to. Okay? Polychromatic or polychromatophilic normocyte na. No? And then, for the mature or the last stage, normocyte or erythrocyte. No? Madalas dito nagkakalituhan sa second, third, and fourth stage, no? Tandaan lang natin na yung mnemonics natin na BPO, no? So, ito yung sinasabi kong BPO, no? Mga unang basophilic, polychromatic, or polychromatophilic, and then next, orthochromic. Pero wag din magpapalito dun sa third stage and yung fifth stage natin. Normoblast, normocyte. Tandaan natin na yung blast is the younger version of your cyte, no? Yan yung ginagamit na suffix. So, kung para hindi kayo malito, B for baby, no? So, blast is the younger version than your cyte. Okay? And then, dito tayo sa last column. So, paano yung kanilang manner of naming. So, una, yung rubriblast. Again, no, blast is baby. Okay? Prorubricite, rubricite, metarubricite, and reticulocyte. No? Reticulocyte kasi meron siyang reticulum. No? So, para hindi kayo malito, yung pro means before rubricite, and then rubricite. Meta means next, no? Next to rubricite, metarubricite. Okay? And then reticulocyte, due to the presence of reticulum, and the mature one, no? Discocytes or the mature RBCs. Okay, tingnan naman natin yung mga description per stage, no? Pronormoblast or proerythroblast or rubriblast is the first recognizable stage, no? upon assessing or examination of your bone marrow. Okay? Basophilic normoblast is the start of your hemoglobin synthesis based sa Rodax. No? Again, wag tayo makakalimot, no? BPO, okay? Polychromatophilic normoblast naman is the last stage of mitosis. Ano nga ulit ang mitosis? Cell division. Ito na lang yung last stage or ito yung pinaka mature na stage na kaya pa niyang mag-cell divide. The next stage, hindi na. So, the orthochromic normoblast is the youngest stage incapable of mitosis. No? Ito rin yung last stage na may nucleus pa. No? Pagdating naman sa kanilang appearance, no? Nasa board exam ito, nung panahon ko, polychromatophilic normoblast has a checkerboard appearance, pakilagyan ng star, and the orthochromic normoblast has sunny side up egg appearance. Pakita ko yan later, no? Next naman, so wag tayong magpapalito. Again, baby is for blast, site is the mature one. Polychromatophilic erythrocyte is the stage wherein your hemoglobin synthesis ends. No? Wala nang hemoglobin synthesis. And ano nga ulit ang kaparehas niya or equivalent niya na name? Polychromatophilic normocyte or reticulocyte. No? Kung maalala nyo, reticulocyte requires special staining when we count them, no? And ano ang technique to stain them? It is called your supravital staining technique, no? And we make use of this reagent. Preferably, and the most common is the new methylene blue reagent or stain. Mamaya, babalikan natin ulit yan. And the mature one, again, no? Erythrocyte, normocyte, discocyte, no? And it is characterized by its non-nucleated cytoplasm, biconcave in shape. Ano nga ulit ang lifespan ng erythrocyte? 120 days or 3 months. Ano ang average size? 6 to 8 micrometer na same as the diameter of your capillaries. So, again, ano yung pinatanda ko sa inyong mga appearance? Diba, meron tayong checkerboard appearance, just like this. No? Nag-alternate na light and dark staining parts of the nucleus and a sun side up appearance. So, alin dito yung polychromatophilic normoblast? So, this is your polychromatophilic normoblast, and this one would be your orthochromic normoblast. Now, punta naman tayo sa components ng RBC membrane. No? Most of the contents of your RBC membrane would be proteins, no? 50%. Next is lipids and a little bit of your carbohydrates. So, anong mga function ng mga yan? No? Depende yan sa type. Yung proteins natin, we have two types. We have integral protein and a peripheral group of proteins. And alin dito yung nagme-maintain ng biconcave shape ng RBCs? Yung peripheral proteins natin. Specifically, your spectrin and actin. Okay? Lipids naman tayo. So, makikita ang lipids, no? Dun sa inside or internal side of the RBC membrane and also the external side. No? Ano ang mga lipid components ng external side? So, we have phosphatidylcholine, no? Glycolipid, and sphingomyelin. And sa internal naman, lahat ng phosphatidyls, no? Yung mga ethanolamine, inositol, and serine. Except, no? Tandaan lang natin yung phosphatidylcholine, wala siya sa loob. Nasa labas siya. Lahat ng phosphatidyl ay nasa loob, except your phosphatidylcholine. Next, biochemistry, biochemical pathways that occurs inside the RBC. So, meron tayong 4 main pathways. Unahin natin yung pathway that provides majority of its energy, no? This is called your Embden-Meyerhof pathway. And through anaerobic glycolysis, no? Gumagamit ng glucose ang RBC, but through anaerobic glycolysis mechanism, no? And this provides the majority of its energy. Next pathway naman, it provides the minority, no? Konting percentage lang ng energy, no? But still very important. Hexose monophosphate shunt or pentose phosphate pathway, no? Aside in providing 10% of its energy through aerobic glycolysis, it also provides glutathione, no, which is important in preventing free radicals or oxidants, no, which destroys your RBC. Okay, which oxidizes your hemoglobin, no? It is a protectant against oxidants. And one of the important enzyme that could produce or maintain the glutathione content, no, is G6PD. G6PD stands for glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. Okay? Next pathway naman is Rappaport-Lou-Behring pathway, which provides this compound or molecule 2,3-DPG or diphosphoglycerate. Bakit siya important? Because it regulates, no, the binding of oxygen from your hemoglobin. Sabi nga natin, no, that 2,3-DPG, pag mataas, no, bumababa yung affinity ng oxygen sa hemoglobin. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Pag mataas ang 2,3-DPG, mas nag-give up yung RBC ng oxygen and it will let go of it, di-deliver ngayon sa tissues. Okay? So again, the rule is that 2,3-DPG is inversely proportional to oxygen affinity. So baliktarin naman natin, mas mababang 2,3-DPG, mas dikit ngayon yung oxygen sa hemoglobin. Thus, walang delivery ng oxygen sa tissues. Okay? Last pathway is the methemoglobin reductase pathway, which maintains your iron in ferrous state. Functional ang ferrous form than your ferric state. Kapag ferric state, non-functional yan. Kailangan ma-maintain na ferrous state. Or yung pag isusulat natin siya, Fe2+. Okay? And in order to maintain this, ito ang pathway na gagamitin natin. The methemoglobin reductase pathway. Next, punta na tayo sa hemoglobin. No? Each adult hemoglobin consists of laging 4, no? 4 dapat. 4 molecules of oxygen, 4 iron, 4 heme, 4 globin, no? And 1, 2, 3 DPG. Okay? And again, ano nga ulit ang rule natin sa 2, 3 DPG? 2, 3 DPG is inversely proportional to oxygen affinity. Okay? To release the oxygen from your hemoglobin, 2,3-DPG will bind to the beta chain, beta globin chain, no, in order to release it. Okay? So nabanggit ko kanina during the hematopoiesis part, no, na meron tayong iba't ibang hemoglobin per stage of hematopoiesis, no. Mauuna diyan lagi si Gower 1 hemoglobin, which is composed of globin chains. Itong mga hemoglobin pala na to, no, nagkakaiba lang sila sa globin chain na component. So, tingnan natin yung component ng gower 1. Gower 1 is composed of 2 zeta and 2 epsilon. No? For mnemonics, no, 1, no, alam mo yung mga fans ng twice, ones, okay? 1, Z, and E, ones. Okay? Tapos, Portland, ang next na hemoglobin stage, no? It is composed of 2 zeta and 2 gamma. So, dati, no, yung mnemonics namin dito is Siga, no? Ang Portland. Portland is basically a brand of a cement na matibay, no? But anyway, lumang mnemonics na yun, pero hopefully it will be helpful for you, no? Next naman, after ni Portland hemoglobin, madedevelop na si gower 2 hemoglobin, which is composed of 2 alpha and 2 epsilon. Mnemonics ko dito dati is TAE, no? 2, yung letter na umpisa ng 2 is T, di ba? And then alpha, and then epsilon. Okay. Very easy mnemonics. Next naman is hemoglobin F or fetal hemoglobin. As a review, no, this happens during mesoblastic stage. Ito naman, it will start during your hepatic stage and it will predominantly stay until birth, no? Until lumabas na yung baby out of the uterus. Okay? So, balikan ko lang ulit, fetal hemoglobin is composed of alpha and gamma. May mnemonics ako dati, pero hindi na pwedeng gamitin ngayon. Bahala na kayo. FAG, no? I hope hindi nyo i-cancel. Pero, kayo na bahala kung gagamitin nyo yun. Next naman, the major hemoglobin. No? Ito yung predominant, ito yung pinakamarami sa adults. No? Hemoglobin A1. A1 is composed of 2 alpha and 2 beta globin chains. Yung minor naman na component ng hemoglobin in adults is A2, no? 2 alpha and 2 delta. Para hindi kayo malito, mauuna sa ang letter B kesa kay D as in dog. So, si B ang major, si delta ang minor. Okay, types of dyshemoglobin. Ano ibig sabihin ng dyshemoglobin? Hemoglobin na dysfunctional, no? Hindi nakapag-deliver ng oxygen, basically. So, we have 3 types. Unahin natin si carboxyhemoglobin and it renders your blood as cherry red color. Matingkad na red, no? Ano ang meron sa carboxyhemoglobin? Hemoglobin is bound instead of oxygen, it is bound to carbon monoxide. It is reversible, pero masyado siyang mataas ang affinity. 200 times stronger than oxygen. No, based on the 3 reference books in hematology, no? Sa Bishop sabi 200 times, Turgeon 210 times, Rodax naman 240 times, no? Basically, halos nasa range tayo, gawa tayo ng range, no? 200 to 240 times stronger than oxygen, no? And actually, you might see it normally in a normal individual, no? 1 to 3% ng hemoglobin natin ay nakadikit sa carbon monoxide. But in smokers, no, mas madami silang carbon monoxide. 5% ng hemoglobin nila ay merong ganitong component. Lalo na, no, depende sa packs nila per day. Okay? And ito ang most common cause of death ng mga natatrap sa loob ng sasakyan, no? Lalo na yung mga bata, maliit na bata, or yung mga adults na natutulog sa loob at nakakalimutan ng gumising. Yung mga yan. And the ultimate treatment for this is supplemental oxygen. Bigyan mo ng oxygen, no? Pero sometimes, no, halos laging dead on arrival na sila sa ER, no? Mahirap nang habulin. Okay? Next naman, methemoglobinemia, no? Which renders the color chocolate brown to their blood. No? Nagiging chocolate brown ang dugo nila. Now, in methemoglobinemia, there is a defect in methemoglobin reductase. Alalahanin natin, this pathway maintains the iron state in hemoglobin as ferrous state, no? 2+. Okay? In methemoglobinemia, hindi niya na-maintain, no? Nasa ferric form or iron 3+ siya. And this also happens in this type of disorder. Hindi naman tayo malilito dyan, no? Hemoglobin M, no? M for methemoglobinemia disorder. Next or last type of this hemoglobin is sulfhemoglobin, which renders or gives a color green or mauve lavender sa dugo ng pasyente. Paano to nangyayari, no? Sulfur will denature hemoglobin, no? Sisirain niya yung hemoglobin, oxidize niya, and then therefore makikita natin itong inclusions na to, Heinz bodies. Okay? Makikita nyo yung mamaya na meron ding ibang disorder na meron tayong makikitang Heinz bodies. Ano nga ulit yon? This is also known as, ulit natin, G6PD. Okay? Oops. Again, no, ano ulit ang G6PD na enzyme? It is important enzyme in hexose monophosphate shunt or pentose phosphate pathway, which is the main pathway that prevents the hemoglobin denaturation or oxidation with the help of your glutathione and NADPH, no? So, halos same sila ng manifestation or presentation. So, saan manggagaling ngayon yung sulfur ng isang individual? So, pwede sila magkaroon ng sulfur contamination from taking drugs that contain sulfur or infection due to this type of bacteria. Clostridium welchii or Clostridium perfringens. These are sulfur-producing bacteria. So, punta naman tayo sa hemoglobin oxygen dissociation curve, meaning this is the curve that presents when your hemoglobin will deliver or dissociate its oxygen to your tissues, no? What is the curve, no, which follows the hemoglobin dissociation, oxygen dissociation? Ang shape daw niya follows a sigmoid shape o sigmoid curve. Okay? So, it is presented by the letter B dito sa ating figure, no? And meron tayong times na nasi-shift itong curve to the left and to the right. Depende sa mga factors na ito, no? Meron tayong if the curve shifted to the left, okay, ibig sabihin, mas mababang dissociation, walang delivery of oxygen to your tissues. Pag papunta naman siya sa right, ibig sabihin, kabaligtaran, mas mataas ang dissociation, mas humihiwalay ang oxygen sa hemoglobin, thus the delivery of the oxygen to your tissues would be successful. Balikan natin itong mga factors na to. So, sabi ko nga, no, meron tayong shift to the left and shift to the right. So, may papatanda ako sa inyong mnemonics, no? L-I-R-D or Laird. Sa shift to the left, it is characterized by increased affinity of your oxygen to your hemoglobin, and primarily, it is affected by your pH, no? increased pH. Dito naman sa kabila, right shift meaning there is a decreased affinity of your oxygen to your hemoglobin, no? It might be caused by of the decreased blood pH. So ito lang ipapatanda ko munang factors kasi all other factors are baligtad naman, no? Dito naman tayo, all other factors are decreased. Okay? So example niyan is yung hydrogen ions, carbon dioxide, temperature, altitude of your environment, and the levels of your 2,3-DPG. Dito naman sa kabila, shift to the right, no, all other factors are increased, no? Hydrogen, carbon dioxide, temperature, altitude, and the levels of your 2,3-DPG. Pagdating naman sa mga conditions, no, present in an individual, always think that shift to the left is caused by an abnormal hemoglobin, no? Example of reduced hemoglobins, again, no, nabanggit ko kanina, carboxyhemoglobin causing cherry red color in blood, methemoglobin causing chocolate brown blood, no? And another, kapag tumataas yung levels of your fetal hemoglobin, 'di ba? Kapag fetal hemoglobin, majority lang 'yan or predominant lang 'yan in fetal stage. Okay? Pagdating naman sa right shift, okay? Nagkakaroon ng right shift sa dissociation curve if meron kang diagnosed anemia, no? High altitude, yan, parehas lang yan dito. Punta naman tayo sa iron kinetics. Okay? Ano nangyayari sa iron, no, molecules pagkapasok sa ating katawan, no? From the absorption, transportation, utilization, storage, then excretion, and sometimes, no, if ever needed, nag-recycle din na iron molecules. So, absorption, the main organ that absorb your iron from your diet is the duodenum, no? And it will be transported, no? Your iron will bind to this transport protein called transferrin. Okay? And once it is bound to your transferrin, ang form niya is in ferric form. Remember, ferric form is not functional pa, no? Pagdating sa hemoglobin, naging ferrous form. In utilization, again, ferrous form dapat para maging functional. Storage, kapag hindi natin siya masyadong kailangan, we have two forms of storage sa iron. We have water-soluble form, which is called your ferritin, no? Na makikita yan sa blood. Water-insoluble form, hemosiderin, na makikita yan sa mga organs naman natin, no? And ano ang naiihi na form, no? We excrete iron through feces, urine, and sweat, no? Primarily sa mga ganitong forms, no? And we excrete them in the form of your ferritin kasi ito ay water soluble, no? Pwede yan lumabas out of the system. When we recycle naman, the iron, the protein pala responsible for recycling the iron is hepcidin. Dadalhin niya yung iron molecules and isa-store niya to sa liver, spleen, and bone marrow. Whenever there is an increased hepcidin, no, mataas ang hepcidin level sa blood, it will decrease your iron level sa blood. Therefore, dadalhin niya yon sa liver, spleen, and bone marrow. Kapag naman bumababa ang iron mo sa blood, bababa si hepcidin. Therefore, the iron will be released from these organs, pupunta yan sa blood nyo or plasma. So, therefore, increased level of iron. Okay, pagdating naman sa compartment, saan nagtatago itong mga iron natin sa katawan, no? The majority of your iron is found, no, in the hemoglobin, 'di ba? Meron tayong 4 na iron atoms inside the hemoglobin. And hemoglobin is found in the RBC. So, saan makikita yung majority of your iron? Sa RBC, in the form of your hemoglobin. Okay? In storage naman, kapag hindi masyadong ginagamit, the ferritin and hemosiderin can be present in all cells except your mature RBC. No? Kasi sa mature RBC, kailangan functional form of iron ang dapat meron tayo. No? Dito yan. Babalik yan ulit dito. Now, catabolism of RBCs, no? Pag na-reach ng RBC yung kanyang ultimate lifespan of 120 days or 3 months, kailangan nilang ma-wash out or ma-clean out of your system. Most commonly, yung ating heme part of the hemoglobin. Okay? So, meron tayong 2 types of RBC catabolism. Meron tayong extravascular and intravascular. Extravascular happens outside the blood vessel, intravascular inside the blood vessel. Punta tayo dito sa extravascular catabolism. This is the normal way of clearing out, no, of the heme from your bloodstream in a normal individual pag walang sakit, no. All old RBCs will be delivered to your spleen, which is the most common site of the extravascular catabolism. Siya ang mag-clear out ng mga old or senescent RBCs, no? Anong meron sa spleen para ma-clear out, na kaya niya mag-clear out ng mga old RBCs? Yung kanyang mga macrophages. And again, macrophage has the main function of phagocytosis. Kaya ang other name of extravascular catabolism is macrophage-mediated hemolysis. Dito naman, intravascular catabolism. It does not happen in normal individual. Remember that. Okay? And this is also known as mechanical or fragmentation hemolysis. Sa loob ng blood vessel, nadudurog, no, yung ating RBC releasing its heme into the bloodstream. And it happens, sabi nga natin, hindi yan normal, no? It happens during anemia, certain types of anemia such as hemoglobinopathies, no? May problem sa hemoglobin, blood transfusion incompatibility, sabihin hindi compatible yung donor and recipient blood bags. Okay, sunod naman tayo sa leukopoiesis. So, define natin, production of white blood cells. So, we have 3 types of white blood cell production. Meron tayong granulopoiesis, lymphopoiesis, and monocytopoiesis. Granulopoiesis, production of granulocytes, RBC containing granules. So, ano yung tatlong lineage ng WC containing granules? Ito yung mga neutrophil, eosinophil, and basophil, no? Lymphopoiesis, no, from the name itself, lymphocytes, and monocytopoiesis, monocytes naman. Puntahan natin itong mga stages ng granulopoiesis. So, ang first recognizable in the bone marrow, the youngest, no, is the myeloblast, no? Dito sa stage na to, wala pang granules ang cytoplasm. Next stage naman, pagkatapos ni baby, cyte na tayo, no? Pro-myelocyte, before myelocyte tayo. Okay? And this stage, meron na tayong granules. It is called your primary granules or non-specific granules. Next, myelocyte, meron na siyang secondary granules or specific granules. This is the last stage capable of mitosis. Kaya pa niyang mag-cell divide. Ito na yung last stage na magdi-divide pa yung mga cells. And this is also the stage wherein you can now differentiate them to one another because of the presence of secondary or specific granules na merong lang specific colors, no? Depende kung anong type of granules present, mag-give off yun ng certain specific color. Kaya kaya mo na siyang i-identify. Okay? Next naman, next, no? Metamyelocyte. This is the youngest stage incapable of mitosis. Hindi na niya kayang mag-cell divide, no? Then, hindi to yung last stage ha. Still, ano pa rin tayo, hindi pa tayo mature na stage. This is band or stub or staph cell. Although, young pa rin siya, no? Pwede mo na siyang makita sa peripheral blood stream, no? This is the youngest cell that normally appears in your PBS. And it is characterized by its nucleus having sausage or band-shaped nucleus. Para siyang C or S-shaped nucleus. Now, punta na tayo sa mature type of cells. No? Pag-usapan natin yung kanilang function, characteristics, and components. Unahin natin ang neutrophils. Neutrophils has a segmented nucleus, no? Multiple segmentation. Ang lilitaw ay 2 to 5 lobes of nucleus. Multilobulated, sabi nga sa ibang books. And ano ang kanyang specific color? Minsan pink, rose violet, may mababasa pa kayo, lilac, no? So, hindi nagkakalayo naman yung range of colors ng mga yan. So, pare-parehas pa rin yan, no? Ano naman yung mga components ng granules niya? We have MPO. MPO stands for myeloperoxidase. Another, lactoferrin. And lastly, your lysozyme. And these three components is very useful to fight off bacterial infection. Kaya ang main job ng neutrophil is to fight off bacteria. Next mature cell is eosinophil, which only has 2 lobes or tinatawag natin bilobed, no? Meron siyang reddish-orange granules, no? Ibang-iba sa ating neutrophil. And ano ang component naman ng granules niyan? MBP stands for Major Basic Protein. Okay? EDN, eosinophil-derived neurotoxin. Okay? ECP naman, eosinophil cationic protein. And lastly, your histaminase. Huwag natin kalimutan, it is an enzyme, ASE, histaminase. Etong mga granules na to would help to fight off parasitic infection and it will induce a sensitivity reaction against allergens. No? So, ang mas specific na component ng eosinophil to induce hypersensitivity is the enzyme histaminase. No? Important to later on, no, i-mention ko din yung important na kapartner ni eosinophil para sa hypersensitivity reaction. Okay, nandito na pala tayo. Sorry. Basophil, no? Basophil has dark purple to blue-black granules and malalaki yung mga yan, no? Sobrang laki, it will obscure the bilobe nucleus, no? Okay? And then the granules, no, na present sa basophil contain histamine and heparin. And this too is important for inducing hypersensitivity reaction. Naalala nyo kanina si histaminase from the eosinophil. Histaminase will break down histamine and then therefore it will will activate, no, yung allergic reaction ng katawan, no? So, remember, histamine ang sa basophil, histaminase sa eosinophil. Next, doon na tayo sa mga WBC na walang granules, no? O tinatawag nating agranulocytic cells. A means absence. So, by books, no, ang description ng mature lymphocyte it has a robin's egg blue color. Pakita ko lang sa inyo. So, ito yung robin's eggs, no? Totoo yan, no? Hindi yan na food dye. So, in comparison with the PBS color, yung cytoplasm daw niya, halos kaparehas ng robin's egg. Anyway, I will leave this to your imagination na halos parehas sila. So, ano ang main functions of your lymphocytes, no? Una, antibody production, graft rejection during organ transplantation, tumor control for cancer, and the regulation of your immune system, no? Para yan sa mga if ever may overactive immune system that would lead to autoimmune diseases. Okay? So we have several types of lymphocytes according to its surface markers. So meron tayong three main types. We have T cell, B cell, and NK cell or natural killer cells, no? So saan napoproduce yung mga cells na to? They are all produced in the bone marrow. Pero ang maturation doon nagkaiba. All of them matures in the bone marrow except your T cell sa thymus, no? Kaya T, no, for thymus, no? And based naman sa population, pinakamaraming ang types of T cell. So explore natin yung mga T cells, no? We have 4 different subtypes of T cells. We have T helper, T cytotoxic, T memory, and T suppressor cells. T helper cells, helper, no? Taga-tulong lang, no? It will help the other cells to be activated. Most commonly, ano yung mga cells na be-benefit doon? Yung B cells and macrophages para magising sila. Okay? Cytotoxic. Toxic means to kill, no? Cell, it means cell. So, cell killing mechanism sila. Pero not all cells. Ang kaya lang niyang patayin ay yung mga virally infected cells. T memory cells naman, these are type of T cells that remember antigens previously encountered, no? Para sa susunod na ma-encounter mo sila, kaya mo na silang kalabanin ng mas efficiently and mas mabilis. Okay? Lastly is the controller, no? The regulator, your T suppressor cells, which moderate the reaction or the response of your immune system para hindi masyadong OA and pwede nang mag-stop kung kailangan nang mag-stop. Si T suppressor cells ang bahala doon. Move tayo sa B cells naman. A mature B cell is called your plasma cells, no? Plasma cells have this characteristic, eccentric nucleus, nasa gilid ng cell. Eccentric means wala sa gitna. With cartwheel appearance or spokes of wheel, no? Na ma-appreciate nyo lang during, siguro sa electron microscope, no? Alam niyo yung ito yung spokes of wheel na sinasabi natin, no? Okay? So, meron siyang ganyan sa loob ng kanyang nucleus. Hindi masyadong kita dito, pero dito mas ma-appreciate natin. Ano ang main function ni plasma cells or plasmacytes? They are the ones which produces your antibodies or immunoglobulins. Next naman tayo na type of agranulocyte, no? Aside sa lymphocyte, meron tayong another a granulocyte. This is called your monocyte, which is the largest cell in the peripheral bloodstream outside, no? And it is characterized by its blue-gray cytoplasm and yung nucleus niya, kidney shape, no? Or para siyang brain convolution. Okay? What are the actions of your monocytes? They act as APC or antigen presenting cells. They present the antigen, the foreign antigen to your lymphoid organs, and then yung lymphoid organs siya ang bahalang mag-produce ng antibody or immunoglobulin to fight off antigen. And if ever kaya naman yan na wala ng tulong ng mga lymphoid organs, diretso na siya sa phagocytosis or cell-eating mechanism. Okay, papatanda ko lang sa inyo itong cellular response, no? Sino ang mga cells na that would take action, no, in times of an infection, okay, or any inflammation. So una, if ever magkakaroon tayo ng infection, inflammation, ang first to migrate to the site of inflammation is neutrophil. And remember, it is only short-lived. Sandali lang yung kanilang buhay, no? Kaya makikita nyo lang yung increased level of neutrophils during acute inflammation, no? During chronic inflammation, matagalang pagkakasakit, okay? Yung mataas na level of cells ay yung mga monocyte o macrophages. They are actually second to migrate and they are pretty much long-lived type of cells, no? And note nang natin ulit, no? Sabi ko kanina, the largest cell in peripheral bloodstream is the monocyte. And it will transform to macrophages pagdating sa mga tissues. Naalala niyo si Kupffer cell, osteoclast, these are the specific type of macrophages in the specific type of organs. Okay, balikan natin yung mga normal value, no? In order for us to differentiate a patient having bacterial, viral, parasitic infection, you need to know the ranges of normality, no? Unahin natin, yung pinakamaraming WBC is the neutrophil, 55 to 65. Tumataas yan, lumalagpas ng 65 during bacterial infection. Lymphocyte naman, 20 to 30. Tumataas during viral infection. Monocytes naman, 2 to 6. Tumataas yan during tuberculosis and other collagen disorders. Eosinophil, parasitism, and hypersensitivity. And lastly, ang least numerous WBC is basophil, no, 0 to 1%, and it happens during hypersensitivity. Again, no, hypersensitivity reactions requires both eosinophil and basophil. Eosinophil has histaminase, basophil has histamine and heparin. So, mnemonics natin, para hindi nyo makalimutan yung ating arrangement from the most numerous to least, no, na WBC. Never let monkey eat banana. Never, no, neutrophil, lymphocyte, monocyte, eosinophil, and basophil. Okay, next topic, venipuncture, or the process of puncturing your vein to extract blood. Okay? So, the most common site of venipuncture is antecubital fossa, or yung space, no, na nasa anterior part ng siko natin. Okay? And yung order of preference, ano yung most preferred vein for venipuncture? This is median cubital vein because napakalayo niya sa mga arteries, no? So walang magiging arterial damage nor nerve damage. Okay? The next preferred site is cephalic. Saan naman yung cephalic? Yung nandun sa thumb side. And then lastly, your basilic. Kasi napakalapit niya sa mga nerve, no? So most nerve damage na side effect ay manggagaling if ever mag-extract tayo sa basilic vein, no? Balikan ko lang, ang basilic vein nasa side siya ng ating pinky. So para hindi natin makalimutan, sa side ng pinky, sa side yan ng ating armpit, no? Basilic sounds like baskil, okay? Basa ang kilikili, kumbaga, no? For your ano lang yon, as mnemonics lang naman para madaling matandaan. Moving to the salient points about the technique behind venipuncture. The angle between the skin and the needle of your syringe must be less than 30 degrees. Okay? About tourniquet application naman, no? Gaano katagal between the tourniquet application and the drawing or collecting of blood. Gaano ba yan dapat katagal? Dapat less than 1 minute. Kapag more than that, the most commonly seen false result is usually hyperkalemia or increased serum potassium level. No? The distance between your tourniquet and the venipuncture site must be 3 to 4 inches. And the most common gauge size for our syringe needle, no, lalo na sa mga adults, is 21 in gauge size. So, ito yung mga magic numbers natin pagdating sa venipuncture technique. So, since pinag-uusapan na natin ang venipuncture, isunod na rin natin pag-usapan ang mga vacutainers natin. Unang-una, sa order of vacutainer is our yellow top. Anong anticoagulant meron sa yellow top? Yung ating SPS or sodium polyinyl sulfonate for blood culture. So, iwan ko na ito sa CC1, no? Dahil hindi naman ginagamit ang yellow top for hematology, no? Sunod naman, light blue top. Anong anticoagulant meron diyan? Sodium citrate, okay? And this is for coagulation. So since for coagulation yan, ginagamit yan in hematology laboratory, no? Ano ang mechanism of action ng sodium citrate? Bakit siya importante as an anticoagulant? Because it chelates calcium, no? Dumidikit siya sa calcium molecules, thus hindi nag-activate ang coagulation process. Okay? Ang susunod naman sa ating order is yung gold top or red top, no? Ang use naman ng mga to is for purely serum studies. And kapag serum studies, sa clinical chemistry ang ginagamit. Next naman, green top, no? Ang green top naman natin, ano ang meron dyan? Heparin, no? It is used for blood gas and ano yung OFT? Osmotic fragility test. And kung alala nyo, ginawa natin to in hematology. Tama? And what is the mechanism of action of heparin? Bakit siya ginagamit as anticoagulant? It inhibits thrombin. And thrombin is one of the proteins involved in coagulation process. So, may inhibition, walang coagulation na mangyayari. Thus, it acts as an anticoagulant. Okay? After the green top, no, ang ating favorite, lavender top na merong EDTA. Okay? And EDTA, no, ginagamit yan mainly, no, for all hematologic tests. Okay? And ang kanyang mechanism of action, Katulad siya ng sodium citrate. It chelates calcium. No? Pakilagyan ng star kasi tinatanong ito sa boards. Ano ang mechanism of action ng EDTA for calcium chelation or simply chelates calcium? No? And again, ano ba ang role ng calcium? It is one of the important molecule or activator of coagulation process. Okay. Next naman, lastly, no, gray top, meron yan sodium fluoride. So, wag tayong magpapalito. Ang light blue top may sodium citrate, ang gray top may sodium fluoride. And this is used for blood glucose determination and alcohol level determination as well. So, ito yung mnemonics na nakita ko from somewhere sa internet, no? Bees can't see, go eat flowers, no? B, no, for blood culture, C, citrate, no? S, di ko lang na bold, for serum studies, no? And then G, green, no? Ayan, green top, E, EDTA, and then F for fluoride naman. Para hindi tayo malito, mauuna ang sodium citrate and lastly, yung ating sodium fluoride. So, huwag niyong kakalimutan din yung ating mga mechanism of action na na-mention ko from the previous slide. Okay, next naman, punta tayo sa preparation of your peripheral blood smear. No, we have two techniques. Thin smear, no, manipis na PBS, and a thick smear. Okay? So, meron silang importance or use, no? Kung bakit tayo gumagawa ng thin and thick. Punta muna tayo sa uses, no? Ang main use ng thin smear is to observe blood cells or bone marrow cells. Okay? Sa thick smear naman, no, makapal na smear, ang main use niyan is for screening of blood parasites. No? Iwan ko na to sa ating parasitology. No? Anong mga klaseng parasites ang makikita in a thick peripheral blood smear. So how should we prepare or anong klaseng technique ang gagawin natin to prepare these two types of PBS? Punta tayo sa thin smear, manipis, no? We will have to use a smaller drop of blood, slower speed, mabagal, and we have to lower our angle. Sa thicker smear naman, obviously, we need a large drop of blood, faster ang speed ng spreading, no? And higher angle between your spreader and your drop of blood, no? So, para mas madaling tandaan, no, in thin smear lahat mababa, okay? Maliit na drop of blood, mababang speed, mababang angle, no? Dito naman sa thick, lahat malaki, malaking drop of blood, dapat mataas or malaking speed or mas mabilis na speed and mas mataas na angle. So, pinag-uusapan natin yung angle. Ano ba ang normal angle between the slide and your spreader? The angle should be between 30 to 45 degrees. Okay? If you want a mas manipis, mas magandang observation ng blood cell, it should be less than 30 degrees. Okay? Lower your angle, no? Kapag thicker naman, more than 45. Okay, punta tayo sa ating mga capillary tubes, no? We have color-coded capillary tubes in the laboratory. So, we have red and blue colors for that. And ano ang standard size ng capillary tubes? Either red or blue pa yan, parehas ang kanilang size. So, ito ay papatanda ko sa inyo, natanong to during my boards, no? 75 mm or 7.5 5 centimeters. Pakilagyan naman ng star dahil ito ay natanong sa boards, no? What is the difference between red and blue, no? Ito yung kung ano ang content niya, no? Ang red capillary tube contains ammonium heparin or heparin, no? Dahil meron na siyang anticoagulant, no? Pwede kang kumuha ng blood directly from the bleeding site, no? Ginagamit siya if you want to do a capillary puncture and then directly collect your blood. Pwede yon. Sa blue naman, walang additives yan or tinatawag natin non-heparinized capillary tube. Okay? Ginagamit to kapag ang gagawin mo ay kukuha ka ng dugo from a vacutainer containing anticoagulants already, such as your EDTA. And this is to avoid over-dilution of your preservatives or anticoagulant.